Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining me today. This is Technology Made Basic, and today's video topic will be multitasking. So multitasking in reference to Windows 11. I do have a Windows 10 version of this same video, so if you're on Windows 10, make sure to check that out. But before we begin, let us simply define the term multitasking in reference to computing. So simply put, it's the execution of more than one program or task simultaneously, or performing more than one task at a time. So I do have a link to this article in the description. So any of the stuff that I kind of reference here in the video, just make sure to check out the description to kind of follow along if you need to. Get more done with multitasking in Windows 11. So let's get started. So organize windows, optimize screen space, and maximize your productivity with just a snap. So let's go ahead and scroll down in the page. And what I want to get to is it says here, multiple desktops are great for keeping unrelated ongoing projects organized or for quickly switching desktops before a meeting. To create multiple desktops, on the taskbar, select the task view icon and then select new desktop. Open the apps that you want to use on that desktop, and then when you want to switch to a different desktop, select task view again. So we'll go over all those features where the task view button, what that is, also using Alt Tab on your keyboard and what that does, switches between different apps, and also the different multitasking options that we have within Windows 11. And we're going to just kind of demo all that, and let's get started. So first, let's go ahead and open up the multitasking options in Windows 11. The way I typically open it is if you do a right click over the start button or start icon on the taskbar. So let's go ahead and do a right click. You're going to get this context menu, and from here, let's select System. And once the System About page opens, let's go ahead and select System on the left-hand side. And from here, we want to select multitasking. So let's scroll down until we see it. There it is. So down here, let's select multitasking. And I believe all the default settings that come with either Windows 10 or Windows 11 is fine and with the way we want to keep it. But let's just go through these settings. So snap windows, automatically resize and arrange windows on your screen. It's set to on. So if we click that, we have a couple more different options that we can turn on and off. So by default, it looks like they're all on. So when I snap a window, show what I can snap next to it. Yeah, we want that. Show snap layouts when I hover over a Windows Maximize button. Yes. Show snap layouts that the app is part of when I hover over the taskbar buttons, and so on and so forth. But you can see them here on the screen. So we'll just keep everything default. Let's see what this desktop's option is. So right now, desktops on the taskbar show all the open windows. Only the desktop I'm using, and show all open windows when I press Alt Tab. So we'll go over, once I demo this, you'll kind of be able to understand this a little bit better. And then Alt Tab, select those. You have a couple of different options that you can choose from here. So it looks like it defaults to open windows and 5 most recent tabs in Microsoft Edge. So you can kind of play with the different settings that you have there as well. And then you also have this option for title bar window shake, so you can kind of drop all the windows and minimize everything that you have open. It looks like it's off, but we'll go ahead and turn that on because that is a nice feature to have if you just want to view one thing and you want to just kind of minimize everything all at once. Let's go ahead and start with the snap feature. So let's get started. So the first feature I kind of want to go over is the snap feature. So that's what it was talking about in this article here, snap your windows. So the snap feature is a great way to improve your productivity by sharing many app windows in a single screen. Different layouts are available with many sizes to choose from, so you can get the most from your favorite apps when you're working on specific tasks. So let's just, for example, say that I want to take this browser and open up these 3 windows at the same time within this one single screen. So let's go ahead and separate these browser out tabs. So now we have 3 different browser sessions open. What I can do is I can take this window here, and I'm going to snap it to the left. So I'm going to take I'm going to hold it. I'm going to do a left click on the browser window. I'm going to hold it. And as you can see, when this comes up, that lets me know that it's going to go ahead and snap to the left. So, and then it's asking me if I want to go ahead and snap another window alongside with it. Let's go ahead and choose this one here on the top left. And that's going to evenly snap it into 2 sections. And what I can do is I can click on, say, for example, the left one if I'm reading this article, and kind of scroll down and see, but maybe I want to jump to this one now. I can click on it, do a left click, and then scroll down as well. So that allows me to multitask and have basically 2 different browser windows open, and I can see both at the same time. Now we can do this in even smaller portions. So you can say you want to have your apps open in quadrants, so 4 different sections on the same screen. So the easiest way I found to do this, besides the mouse and doing the snap feature, you can take it and kind of snap it in the corners to give you those quadrants. But it's kind of hard sometimes to get that corner, because what it wants to do is it wants to snap either the entire screen or just like a portion of the screen. But it's really hard to kind of get right there to be able to snap it into this corner section. So I can choose this, and now I have 3 sections of my screen, essentially this right hand side, which is all the single browser, and then you got 2 different web pages open here. But what the easiest way, and the way I find easiest to do it, is by using the keyboard. So what you can do, if I wanted to snap all of these, let's go ahead and unsnap them, just kind of have them free floating. And say I wanted to take this window here and snap it the same way. So if I hold down the Windows key on my keyboard, just hold it down, and I use my arrow keys, I'm going to go ahead and snap it to the left first, and then hit the down arrow to snap it down. And let's go ahead and select this one to snap up here. And let's just say I want to downsize this one so I can have 4 different viewing regions. So let's go ahead and, again, I selected the right hand side, this one. So I'm going to, once I select it, I'm going to go ahead and hold down the Windows key, and let's go up with it. So it's snapped up, and now I have another region where I can view something else. So now I have 4 different viewing regions that allows me to multitask and play within the 4 regions. So I can read this article, read this one. I can go and change some of the multitasking settings that I have here, as long as I click on the region that I'm within that I want to view and check out. So I find it easier to do the keyboard toggle. Again, the one that's selected is the one that's going to let you snap and play around with. Let's just say I wanted to make this larger again. I hold down the Windows key, and this is the top right one that I'm going to play around with. Hold down the Windows key and hit down, and it's going to make it much larger. So again, Windows key and then the arrow keys. So hold down the Windows key and then up arrow, left arrow, right arrow, or down arrow to be able to snap them within regions. So that's what that snap feature is that it's referring to in that article. So right here, when I read this first, it says multiple desktops are great for keeping unrelated ongoing projects organized and for quickly switching desktops for a meeting to create multiple desktops. So now we're going to go ahead and demo this. So we're going to talk a little bit about task view, the new desktop, and how to set those. So let's go ahead and minimize everything. And again, that shake feature that we enabled earlier, let me just go ahead and demo that before I forget. Say if we have just a bunch of stuff open, but I only want this one back window. Click it, I take it, hold it with the left click, and then shake it, and it minimizes everything else. So that's pretty neat. So it looks like that was off by default, but you can enable that. So now, in order to use the task view button is going to be right here on the taskbar. It's going to be this icon. So just look for that on the taskbar. If you don't see that, you may end up having to right click somewhere on the taskbar to go to the taskbar settings. So once you do that, do a left click. Let's maximize this so we can see it better. And by default, I believe task view is enabled, but if you have the switch to off, you won't be able to see that task view button. So just make sure that that's on under the taskbar settings. Let's go ahead and minimize that. Now, if we go here, what this allows us to do is it allows us to create a virtual desktop. So if you have a single screen, like a laptop screen, or you're on a Windows desktop PC with only one monitor, it allows you to leverage it and create another virtual desktop that you can actually put stuff on, and that way you can toggle back and forth from one desktop to another. So let's just say we wanted to take, let's say for example, the settings and put them on a new desktop that's separate from this desktop, because we have maybe just, for example, everything cluttered. So if you just do a left click and hold it, now I can just drag it to the new desktop. And now that's going to be part of desktop 2. So let's just go ahead and add one more thing. Let's just say Powertoys and drag it down to desktop 2. Sorry, I kind of didn't do that correctly. So let's go back. Powertoys, and let's drag it to desktop 2. So what you want to do is when you drag stuff, you want to make sure to click kind of in the center. As you can see, it kind of gets kind of smaller to let you know that you're able to kind of drag it now. Let's keep that there. So we have all this in desktop 1, and we have the other stuff in desktop 2. Now to get to desktop 2, when you hover over it, it's going to bring you the different desktops that you have available to you. So we created desktop 2. Let's switch over to it. And now we can see here that the settings and Powertoys are on desktop 2. But if we switch back over to desktop 1, all we have is just the different browsers that we kept over here in File Explorer, but you're not able to see what's on desktop 2. Now, you can have it to where the taskbar sees everything on all the desktops. So if we go back to, if we switch to desktop 2, where we have those settings options, and we go back to System, and go back to Multitasking, and here is what I was referring to earlier. If we go to Desktops, we got two different options. So the default is only on the desktop I'm using. So for both the Alt tab and those different virtual desktops, but what we can select is on all desktops. And what this will do, if we just select that to on all desktops for both, and let's go ahead and minimize that. So now, again, I'm on desktop 2, but if I switch back to desktop 1, everything is there. So it looks like, so you'll be able to see what's open across all the desktops based on what's open here on the taskbar. So if I switch back to desktop 2, we couldn't see that a minute ago, but now you can. Now the neat thing about this is that this browser window here is open on desktop 1. So, but we're on desktop 2 now. So if I go ahead and click on one of the pages that's open on desktop 1, it's going to send me over to desktop 1. And how we know is if we hover over this, desktop 1 is the one that's highlighted. It's kind of hard to tell, but you can see that that is the one that's highlighted. So to prove this, if we go and choose Powertoys, make that smaller, you can see the browser windows are not there. And if we hover over the task view, you can see that desktop 2 is highlighted. But if I go back to this, one of the articles, I go back to desktop 1, and desktop 1 is the one that's highlighted. Let's just hover over to make it easier. Yeah, desktop 1, the task view button. So you can use this to kind of toggle back and forth, or you can have the icons appear across all the desktops, so that way when you click on it, it'll automatically toggle for you to that desktop that it's active on. So it's kind of hard to, explain, but that's about the best way that I can explain it. It just makes it a little bit easier to toggle back and forth instead of hovering over or selecting and then, choosing it this way. By having everything available on the taskbar across any desktop that you're on, you can just switch back. Just like that. So that makes it really simple to toggle back and forth. But again, that's a really neat feature that allows you to have multiple desktops. You can even go as far as like changing the background to make it different so you know. So one way to know for sure that we're on desktop 2, let's just go ahead and hover over desktop 2 and choose background, and let's just select something different to differentiate it from desktop 1. So let's just select this. Let's close that. The background change. So if I go back to one of the browser windows that's open on desktop 1, as you can see, the background is different on desktop 1. So that's how, a quick way for you to know that you are on desktop 1 is to just kind of have different backgrounds on the different desktops. And if we switch back over to Powertoys, see the background changes because we are on the virtual desktop 2. One thing, and I'm not really sure if I mentioned it at the beginning of the video, is that if you, let's go back to desktop 1, you can also use the Alt tab on your keyboard. So if you hold down the Alt key, so the Alt key, and then hit the tab, it allows you to quickly switch to whatever window that's actively open. So if you just keep hitting tab, you can see the one that's highlighted in white. That's the one that it'll open for you. So we're on desktop 1 right now. If we go back to, let's see, Powertoys, and then let go, it's going to switch us over. So that's called Alt tab. So again, hold down Alt, hit tab, and let's just, you can just toggle until you get to the right one that you want. Let go, select that, and that'll switch you over. So that's another way to multitask. So remember, Alt tab on the keyboard, Windows tab to go to that task view. So Windows tab, it'll take you to task view, or you can just click the task view button down here on the bottom. And if you don't have it enabled, make sure to enable that. One last thing I did want to mention though, and this is going to be for an upcoming video, but I just want to preview it here, is that there is a free to use program called Powertoys. And Microsoft Powertoys is a set of utilities for power users to tune and streamline their Windows experience for greater productivity. It's made by Microsoft and the Powertoys community. So as you can see here, it comes with just a ton of different options that kind of enhances your Windows experience, and it's more geared towards like advanced users. But I'm going to have a whole series on Powertoys. But what I wanted to show you for now is something called Fancy Zones, because what this does, it takes kind of this multitasking feature in Windows and enhances it and takes it up to like another level. And this article, I believe I did have that. Yep. I'll link this again in the description. This kind of goes over what Fancy Zones is, that utility built into Powertoys. So it's a Windows Manager utility for arranging and snapping windows into efficient layouts to improve your workflow and restore layouts quickly. So it allows you to do quite a bit. You can customize and have all kinds of different layouts and all kinds of custom keyboard shortcut keys to get you to where you want to go. So it's a little bit more for what they consider power users, advanced users, but I think anybody, even a beginning user, can with the series that I'm gonna produce, will be able to use Powertoys and all its features to whatever you like. But that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and until next time.